thought this game would not happen this soon, or if at all. In its 5th year, Glacier Peak will take on the school just across the river. Another 4A Wesco North opponent, the Snohomish Panthers. These two schools share Veterans Memorial Stadium as their home field, but tonight the Grizzlies will be the visitors. It's a historic hot night for this community, and everyone who loves high school football has been waiting for this game since the day GP opened its doors. There isn't an empty seat in the building, the kids are back in full force, and the excitement has been building since the schedule came out in June. The only place to catch the first chapter of this great story is right here on STSPN.com. We'll be back right after this with the Mongos pregame show on the Snohomish Times Sports Network.
Step inside Mongo's at Clearview for an experience you have to taste to believe. Customers come to Mongo's for the friendly service, down-to-earth atmosphere, and of course, the menu. We use only the freshest ingredients to prepare every dish, and everything we make starts from scratch each morning, like our delicious freshly caught salmon and our mouth-watering burgers. Perfect for ordering to go or dining in. What you don't see is how much energy our chefs put into every meal, but we think the results speak for themselves. Just see what our customers are saying. They dream of our fish tacos. They love our fabulous chef, and whether it's lunch or dinner, they can't get enough. We love what we do, and we think you'll agree once you take that first bite. When you come hungry, we want you to leave happy. Mongo's at Clearview. Stop in anytime.
Welcome back. Scott Oshman joined along with our STSPN football expert analyst Tim Boyle. Tim, how are ya?
Scott, doing wonderful because we've been waiting for this game for 5 years, and tonight the Snohomish River becomes the Mason-Dixon line. We got the Civil War, we got the Hatfields and the McCoys, we got the Capulets and the Montagues, we got Family Feud, we got it all here tonight. So we are looking for a huge game. The coaches are fired up. We'll break here just for the second.
We are. There go the national anthem. We'll be back right after this with more of the Mongos pregame show on the Snohomish Times Sports Network.
Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the Westco Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the Westco Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the Westco Conference.
Welcome back to the Snohomish Times Sports Network. Tonight, Glacier Peak taking on Snohomish Panthers. Again, Scott Oshman along with Tim Boyle. Tim, what does this game mean tonight? Put it into some type of words. It's been written about, talked about. What does it mean?
Well, I can't really, Scott, because I think it means something different for everybody. For some parents, it means something. For these coaches, it means something a whole lot different. These coaches all coached under Dick Armstrong. There's so many ties to Dick Armstrong in this game, a legendary coaching figure. For the players, it means something different. They've all been playing against each other and with each other their whole lives, and they finally get to do this. They've been waiting for it for years. It's hard to explain what it really means, but it's huge.
It is a big night. Steve Hannon, defensive coordinator for Glacier Peak, talked about what a big night. Mark Perry, we got to talk to the Snohomish coach. It was a great moment. We were on the field looking back at the stands. All you see is blue and red. And he said, we asked him, what does it mean, Coach? And he said, look out there. That's what it means. Snohomish football, for the first time since the split of two schools, is back. Getting into some football. We'll get back through the broadcast about some different interesting storylines. I mean, the Dick Armstrong tree of coaching is enormous. It's vast and prevalent throughout the Snohomish County. Snohomish last week, they went to the playoffs. Started 0-5, came back, went to the playoffs, lost in the playoffs. Last week started out with a loss at Oak Harbor, 27-3. They had a 3-0 lead at halftime. Tell us about this Snohomish team real quick.
Well, I think what happened, there's a couple things going on here. Snohomish did go to the playoffs last year. They actually won technically their first playoff game because it was that play-in game out in Monroe. They won that, but you got to remember they started out 0-5 last year. They ended up making the playoffs, which was huge. They kind of ran the table at the end. The problem is they had some kind of like Lake Stevens. They had some huge ball players, excellent talent. They almost all of them graduated, with the exception of St. Marie, that we'll talk about later. He's still there, sort of, but we'll get to him in a minute. But tale of two teams last year. This year they started out with a loss, but they actually played real tough against Oak Harbor through the first half, and then Oak Harbor kind of probably was a little deeper, ran away with the game at the end.
Now, just quickly again, we've got running up to kickoff here. Real quick, flipping back over to Glacier Peak, they had a big win, 42-31 over Lake Stevens, another 4A school. We saw some big-time performances by some guys. What do you see this week?
Well, I see the thing about last week is we saw a couple players that we weren't expecting to see big nights out of, and that would have been Josh Big Play May came up huge. I expect to see a lot of him again. You got the new guy, Baruch, who kind of looks like it kind of filled right in where Evan Nelson left. And, of course, Chris Becerra had a huge game. He was the question mark for us, and I think he proved that he belongs.
Huge debut for Chris Becerra, Josh May, Baruch on defense. Trey Chambers was incredible. Great. Michael Palmer was a beast on both sides of the ball. Right now they're just warming up. Snohomish will start out receiving for this historic night, and we'll be back right after this with the kickoff on the Snohomish Times Sports Network.
Physical therapy is a specialty focused on treating musculoskeletal dysfunction, movement dysfunction. We're on the cutting edge at Integrated Rehabilitation Group. We look at function. We talk about the total body and treating the total person. All of our therapists have a master's degree, and more importantly, a lot of them have doctorate degrees. Movement is the key. The old way in physical therapy was to treat them on the table. We get people off the table, on the ground, and start moving them in a normal pattern, because life is movement.
Welcome back. You're watching an historic night here in downtown Veterans Memorial Stadium, where Glacier Peak is facing the Panthers of Snohomish. Again, Scott Oshman and Tim Boyle with you. Tim, talk for a minute as the teams now take the field for the kickoff. A little bit more for people who don't understand the history of Snohomish and Dick Armstrong.
Well, if you don't know what happened during those years, Dick Armstrong won 2 state titles. When he retired, he was the winningest coach in the history of Washington for football. One of his big stats is he won 13 league championships in a row from, I believe, like 76 to 88.
Wow. Just
a football guru, and when you think of Snohomish football, everybody thinks of Dick Armstrong. And he ran, this is kind of the tale of two teams. Glacier Peak's kind of like an Oregon, and Snohomish has been like a Nebraska, if you put it in college terms. One's a smash mouth type, one's a spread offense. So it's kind of the tale of two teams right across the river.